What's going on, everybody? I didn't even realize my microphone was on. Sorry if I was making a bunch of noise over here. I'll be doing that. It's not Tuesday. It is not Tuesday. No. Are you saying that because I was saying it's my day off? Because my day offs have changed. It used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's still Monday and Wednesday. Yeah, it has changed. It's supposed to be Monday and Wednesday, but honestly, I got some stuff in my mind, and so yeah. Just wanted to be on today. Figured it was a better idea. But we're just gonna do this for a bit. I don't know how long we're gonna be on today. I mean, I do gotta go. I got stuff to do in like 2 hours. So we're gonna be here for a second, and then I'm gonna get off, and I'm probably just gonna chill here and talk to y'all, eat some gummy worms. I got gummy worms, and I'm happy. They're making me happy right now. She's still in the hospital. Zazu. So it's kind of why I'm here on my day off. You know what I'm saying? Just better to be like here and just like, talking to people than just sitting in my own head, just hanging out. If that makes sense. That's the way I see it. Yep. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get this thing up to 5,000 likes on TikTok. I really appreciate that. If you guys are coming in on YouTube, if you guys could go up to the top and hit that like button for me, I'd really appreciate that. We do this every day, so make sure that you subscribe. No, not a haircut, beard cut. I trimmed up the beard. That's what's lighter. Hair looks the same. Beard's a little bit a little shorter. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna open up the phone lines in a little bit. We're gonna have some conversations. I actually do want to take a couple of TikTok guests today too, not just YouTube. YouTube's been getting all of the love lately. YouTube's been getting all of the love, and I'd like to give the TikTokers a little love today, if I can. It's up to them though. So we will see. We will see how this moves forward. But regardless of that, how's everybody doing today? This is my day off. Normally I am on, not today. I would not be on today. And I am also wouldn't be on for like 2 to 3 more hours. But I'm doing both today because I got a bunch of shit on my mind and I would rather talk about it here than just sit around and be in my own head. So we're gonna have some conversations. We're gonna have some debates. We're gonna have some banter. We're gonna have some feuding. We're gonna have all sorts of different types of conversation. Whichever kind you'd like. Yesterday was very, very calm. Like yesterday, I went for like 3 hours. And I had like lots of really, really calm conversation. The day before that, it was very hectic. A lot of people screaming. Okay. So like I said, conversation very, very much depends on the guest that I have. We can have nice, calm conversation. Or I can be an asshole. Like, it really doesn't matter. I can do either one. I will say, we'll give you warning though. If you want to just come up and yell and scream and be an asshole, I am better at it than you are. So I'd advise that you don't do that. Because I have been doing this for a long time and I am much better at it than you are. Okay. So I advise you don't get me started. I'd advise you don't. It's better for everybody involved, I think. Let's get it started and ha. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started and ha. All right. Well, I do want to jump right into this. I want to get this thing going because, like I said, I'm not going to be on like yesterday. I was on for like 3 hours. But today is only going to be like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Just depends on how the conversation's going, what kind of people we got in here, what kind of support I'm seeing. All of those things are just the things that help to guide how this thing goes. Really, truly, all it is. Just really just guides how things go. So I'm gonna get this thing rolling. Thank you so much. Oh, that's really cute. Oh, that's cool. Thank you. If you guys voted for Trump and you support him, there's two ways you can come up and talk to me. One, if you're on the TikTok side, go ahead and hit that multi-guest request button at the bottom. That's how you can come up. If you're on the YouTube side, there's a phone number that's right above my head. If you call that phone number, it'll connect into me. You do have to be faster than the rest of people. That is true. And that's how it's done. And then we can have some conversations. But please only request in and come in if you voted for Trump and you support him. I appreciate that. So yeah, if you don't, then I really appreciate you and I love you. I'm not here to talk to you because this live isn't fun. If I just sit around and talk to a bunch of people on the left the whole time, we can do that whenever, So definitely not as fun. All right, let's see if we can bring up a quick guest real quick. We'll see if we got anybody here. Hi, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Awesome. How old are you?
I'm turning 49 August 28th.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
I voted for Trump with both my hands, my entire chest, and if I could have used a foot, I would have.
You should just used a pen.
Well,
maybe a pencil.
Use both hands, buddy.
Oh, well, sorry. I learned how to write. I learned how to write with one hand, but I mean, if you got to use both, that's fine.
I didn't write my vote in electronic.
You use both hands to do an electronic vote too?
Oh. And my whole chest, and if I could have used a foot, I would have.
All right, each their own, man. I just like to just fill in a little bubble, but that's on me. Seems a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, why did you use your feet? Why do you use your feet to vote for Trump?
When I voted for the mass deportation, for the tariffs. I love the tariffs, the energy policies.
Okay.
Doge.
Okay. So why do you love Trump's tariffs?
What do you mean? They're great. They bring in revenue into our nation.
They bring in revenue to our nation? How do they bring in revenue to our nation?
Well, we have 3 monthly treasury statements showing $31 billion in revenue. But we don't see CPI going up or PPI going up.
Who pays the tariff?
So they bring in revenue. We got the importer at the dock.
The importer. So it's not bringing in revenue. The revenue was already here.
No, it's
yes,
bringing in
because if the importer was here, then the revenue was already here. In order for it to bring revenue into the country, it would have to be coming from outside of the country and then moving into the country. Since the revenue was already here because the importers are already here, the revenue is not coming into the country. It's going from our citizens into the government, and that's just a tax. So you're just for tax raises?
No, so that's why I highlighted that we don't see any inflation quantified in any recent CPI chart or PPI charts or any intermediary charts.
Sure, what I said had nothing to do with inflation.
Yeah, because if the tax gets passed on to the consumer, then we would see.
I didn't say anything about the tax being passed on to the consumer. Are you with me here, sir?
You literally just said it's a tax.
No, sir. I said that the importer pays the tax, so therefore the importers had a raise in their taxes.
No, well, I also believe that the tariffs get I'll say negotiated with the exporters. They can lower the price of their commodity to accommodate for the tariffs, since they would be losing business if we don't buy from them anymore. They would do for us, they would do for the importer what the importer would do for their domestic market.
Yeah, that's cool in theory, but not reality.
Well, it is reality because we don't see that cost. So where's the cost? Did they absorb it?
Did who absorb it?
Did the importer absorb it?
We've seen literal inflation across every product except for energy in this country.
That's what I'm saying. Where is it quantified in the CPI or PPI chart or any intermediary
in BLS?
Chart?
At BLS?
Show it to me.
Okay.
Show me the inflation.
Okay.
Because as I see, we're at 2.3 right now.
Yes, sir, because energy is down.
Right, because it's energy policies. That's what I voted for.
No, sir. We're not talking about energy. The prices of goods are up across the board. Okay? Right, the total CPI is not showing a huge increase because energy prices are so far down. Right now, the energy policies are counteracting the higher prices.
Show that to me.
It's on the screen.
That's not the BLS.gov chart, bro. Stop doing that.
Bro, it says BLS.gov on top. Like literally, if I just
Show me
scroll to
the
the
actual.
top,
I'm
it
gonna
literally
no
says
problem.
United States
I'll turn
Bureau
on
of
my
Labor
camera and
Statistics.
show you the actual BLS.gov
Sir, can you not
chart.
can you see my screen?
That I actually can't. It says sub show now. Things are blocking it.
Okay, here I'll move it for your benefit, okay, since I already had it down. So see right there on top of the screen, what does it say? Right up here. Right above it. What does it say?
Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Which is what?
BLS.gov, the CPI
There
chart.
we go. All right. So
let me pull up the chart so we can see section
sir,
by
the
section.
chart is
where the
up on the
quote-unquote
screen.
inflation is.
It's
I don't
already
want
there.
colorful bars. I want the actual chart with the numbers, percentage quantifying each
Sir,
single.
it's just a lot easier to put the charts up there because every single
no.
chart all the way down is a
That's
lot
a
more difficult to
disingenuous chart.
read
No
on the
problem.
thing. But
I'll
the
pull up
numbers
mine.
are here all the way through. Sir, please stop hollering. Okay.
I'm not hollering.
So this is literally BLS.gov. This is showing the chart that shows that everything is up across the board. Okay. Everything. And this is actually as of April. All right. So prices are up on all products, food, all items, less food and energy, all items combined. Prices are up. And this is
liar.
no, this is your 2.3% right here.
On the big screen?
No.
No. So you're just gonna go off.
You can tell me where I can pull it up, and I'll gladly put it up on the screen. That's not a problem.
It literally.
Sir, this data literally agrees with you. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. What do you mean literally agrees with me?
What did you say the inflation rate was?
2.3.
And what does this say?
No, but you're saying that it's core, that it's minus core, that everything is up.
I didn't say that everything is up. I said everything minus energy is up.
That's literally core is minus energy and food.
Well, this is including food.
Okay, so we're not including food and energy because you're saying energy offset everything. So
energy offset food and everything else.
Energy offset food.
And everything
Even
else.
though food was 0.4 and now it's negative 0.1. Food at home in April.
Food is 2.8% in April. It's on the screen.
2.8 is unadjusted. All right?
Sir.
Do you know what seasonally adjusted means?
Yes, I'm very familiar with seasonally adjusted means, sir. You said, where is the price increase? You show me where is the data that shows that we are eating the price of these things.
All right.
And this is right here on BLS.gov.
Stop running.
Showing where we're eating the price of this. So will you please address, sir, will you please address what we're talking about instead of trying to moving on to seasonally adjusted prices and moving on to all these other things? Sir,
it's not
seasonally
adjusted.
Sir, can you please go ahead?
Call me father. Call me father.
Sir,
listen.
I will call you whatever you like as long as you address the subject.
All right, father, listen. They call me father.
You just called me father. You don't even know who's father?
Listen, if I'm pointing at
you
food
don't even
at
know
home,
who's father? That's weird.
0.1. How is food going up? All right.
Huh?
Second of all, look.
What did you say?
Look, no. But where's the inflation, bro? Where?
I literally just showed it to you. Like it was on the screen.
No. Pick one. Look at all the sections. This is everything that's quantified by the federal government. Where is it? Where's the inflation?
Sir, I can't see your little screen. That's why I said it's pointless.
Put me on the full
no.
Screen, son.
I told you if you have something to put on the screen, just tell me where I can find it, and I'll gladly put it on the big screen.
Actual chart. Like, just go to BLS.gov and put the actual chart where they quantify each commodity separately.
Sure. Tell me where to find that, sir. I've already said that 5 times.
BLS.gov, bro.
Sir, if I just type in BLS.gov, do you know what shows up? Here, watch. You know, how about this? I'll do it for you, okay? Maybe you can understand it when I just, just put it up on the screen. If I type in just BLS.gov, this is what shows up. It talks about jobs increases. It's talking about all sorts of things in here, okay? Geographic information says choose state, charts for economic news release, CPI inflation.
Report.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I was asking you for. Which report? And you freaked out.
Report and stop playing.
Which report?
The May 13th report is the recent report till we get June.
May 13th report on what?
On the consumer price index summary, man. Stop it. You know this.
No, I do not know what your brain is saying. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize. It's your brain. It is not my brain. Actually, I don't apologize for that. I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, you know what you're doing, buddy.
Yeah, this is literally showing the literal exact same numbers I just had up, sir.
Okay, show me where the inflation is. Be like, look, Bretta. This went up.
Dude.
Look, Bretta, this went up right here.
I'm gonna show you what this dude can't figure out. Okay. I'm gonna
Okay.
show you what this guy can't figure out. It's really amazing. Okay. This is what I pulled up right here. Where I see where it says major categories food 2.8%. Okay. You see this on the little blue sorry, I'll move this out of the way so you guys can see it on TikTok too.
Thank you.
Right here
That's
where
what
it
I
says
needed to do.
2.8%. This is the chart that he's looking at. You see what it
Yes.
says for food?
Yeah, that's
2.8%.
unadjusted.
Okay.
But you said,
No.
hold on.
No. Be quiet.
ahead.
No,
Go
be
ahead, go
quiet.
ahead. All right.
You see
I'm
where it
mute.
says energy minus 3.7% right here? This is the chart he's looking at where it says energy minus 3.7%. Literally the exact same numbers that I had up on the screen the whole time. He has been screaming about me bringing up a chart that says the exact same fucking numbers.
Okay, but those are the overall numbers. I want you to itemize where these inflation is actually shown, what section, what sector, what product is actually inflated due to the tariffs.
And I've already done that.
Which one? Which one, sir?
I'm not doing it for a fourth time, sir. I'm
All right,
not
well,
going to
then
just
I
talk in circles
apologize.
with you.
Listen, I'm trying to be. Let me humble myself. I'm sorry, man.
I don't need
know
your
if I come
apology.
off
I need you
wrong.
to be
All right.
better.
I'll be better, man. But just show me where I'm looking at the numbers and show me, hey, look, Bretta, this went up and this cost the overall number.
We
to
are
go
up on every single item that is not energy.
Okay, so
I don't know why.
Which one I'm
I
looking
don't
at
know
them?
why we
New
have to keep
vehicles is
repeating
down.
ourselves, saying the
New
exact
vehicles is
same
down.
thing
Used
over
vehicles.
and over and over and over
Apparel
and
is
over
down.
and
All right, but
over
where?
and
Look,
over and
sir,
over and
please.
over and 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 over.
All right, I'm sorry if I triggered you, man.
I'm not
I don't know
triggered.
how to
You're
have
just
a
stupid,
sincere
okay?
conversation. All right, I might be stupid, but show me where the
I already
inflation
have, sir. I'm not
is.
going to do that again.
Please, look. Apparel, where is it? Where?
Sir, you think I care about apparel?
Okay, but what is it? What is it that's going up that you said everything else is going up except core inflation?
Everything but energy. Everything but energy.
Okay,
I'm putting it literally in
nothing, but I'm
as
looking at
few
the
words as
chart and it
possible.
did not go up.
I'm putting it in as few words as possible. That way it's nice and easy. Okay.
Okay, food at home, food away from home. No, that's -4.
No, it's plus 3.9% on your own chart, sir.
Food away from home stay pardon me, that was food.
Food away from home, positive 3.9%. It's right there on the chart you told me to go look
Food
at.
away from home stayed the
It's
same.
right here.
Food
It's
away
right
stayed the
there,
same
sir.
at 0.4.
Okay.
That's unadjusted. Stop pointing at unadjusted numbers, man.
I'm sorry. The chart you talking about the seasonally adjusted charts?
Yeah, unadjusted. The number.
Okay,
you keep
cool.
pointing at the
Here
end
we
is
go.
Unadjusted. That's
Here we
unadjusted.
go.
That 3.9
Higher.
is
Food at
unadjusted.
home.
There we
Higher. Food at freaking away. Higher.
No,
What are you
food at
talking about,
home.
sir?
Hold on. Food at home, 0.5 to -0.4. Food away from home stayed at 0.4.
Yeah, that was
Did
after
not
the
go
dropping
up.
of the tariffs.
So where? Okay,
That was after
where
the
is-
dropping of the tariffs, sir.
So food went down because of the dropping of the tariffs, and that's
Yes.
what you call it inflation?
I'm not even saying it was inflation, sir. You're the
Bro,
one who
this-
keeps bringing up inflation.
Bro, you said
Sir,
that
this
everything
entire
is
thing
inflated
started.
and it was offset
Sir,
by energy.
This entire thing
That's what
started
you said.
because, sir, you there?
All right, go ahead. Go
This
ahead.
entire thing started because I said that you are a fan of taxes for importers.
Oh, yeah, there are taxes for importers,
I
but I'm
never
telling you-
said the overall inflation was
So-
up. Not
Oh
once.
my God, I hope somebody's recording this.
I'm recording it.
Yo, I know you're recording. What I'm telling you is that you said that energy is so low that it offset the rise in taxes to other commodities.
It
That's
did.
what you said.
But
So
that's
then
not
show
what we
me
were
the
talking
other
about, sir. This
commodity
is just a
that
moving
rose
of the
up.
goalpost. This is
All
just
right.
you moving the goalpost because
No,
you
I'm
don't
not
want to
moving
admit.
the goalpost,
No,
it's
sir,
you.
stop. Be quiet. You're just moving the goalpost because you don't want to admit, okay, that taxes for importers is up. Yes or no? Is it up or down?
Taxes for importers is up because they have to pay their tariffs.
All
of
right,
course.
awesome. So you're a fan of a raise in taxes.
No, because that tariff gets negotiated with the exporter. That's
No,
why
it
we
does
don't
not.
see any.
No. Okay, then show
Yes,
me.
it does.
Okay, well, I can show you where Walmart tried to negotiate with the exporters and China told them to get bent. Can you please show me where it was negotiated with the exporters?
Sorry. I got a call. All right. So you said that I missed what you said before I got the call. What did you say?
I said, can you please show me where any price have been negotiated with the exporters to lower the prices?
Oh, I can't. There's no source to show you how hundreds of companies are doing, how hundreds of importers are doing business with hundreds of exporters, knowing that all of their business is nuanced and different. I don't know what you're talking
So you're
about.
making a claim that you can't prove.
No, at the end of the day, we don't see the tariffs quantified in these charts, so we know that the cost is somewhere. But if it's not quantified,
sir, so you're saying that you're making a claim that you cannot prove.
I know that I can prove it because we see it not quantified.
All right. Well, here,
in
I
the
can show you the
CPI.
proof right here where China tells Walmart no on lower prices. And I can show you this across multiple different major Fortune 500 businesses across the United States, showing that places like China are not negotiating lower prices.
All right, then China loses their biggest customer.
I'm
and
not
we can
asking
turn
whether,
the other
sir, the
country-
question is not whether China loses their biggest customer. You're making the claim that that importers are not paying more because they're negotiating prices with the exporter.
Yes,
I am
yes.
showing that they're not.
I said there are hundreds of importers doing businesses with hundreds of exporters.
Gotcha.
And you pointed out Walmart.
So, I said I can show that to you on multiple different major companies in the
I can
United
show
States.
you a car company that's absorbing the cost.
Sure, then show it
and
to me.
thanks to the president. Okay,
Then
no
show it
problem.
to me.
Hold on a second. Many companies are planning to.
No, I don't need your rhetoric. Just go ahead and tell me where I can find it.
Okay, hold on a second. You could say something while I.
No, I'm good.
You're good? Okay. All right. A little bit awkward, but all right.
No, I'm not awkward. This is fine for me.
Fine.
Mhm.
You're in your house?
Oh, sir, I'm right in my fucking lane. I'm chilling.
No, you in my lane. You about to get run over.
No, sir. You're running over yourself. I don't even need to run over you.
How does that even possible, running over myself? That was
I don't know. I don't know how you figured out how to do it.
Shut up, man. You're crazy, man.
Is that what you say when you can't find the answer?
I'm literally pulling up the answer.
Well, can you hurry up? You're taking forever.
I'm going to turn on my camera.
No, you can just tell me where it's at again. I've told you this for the third time now.
Why can't I turn on my camera?
Because I don't trust you.
What do you mean you don't trust me? What am I going to do?
I don't know, but I don't trust you.
GM will absorb 4.5. Stop doing that, bro. Like, you don't want me to show the proof. So
No,
this
I
is
just don't know what, sir. Hey, sir,
fastmarkets.com.
what are you talking about? I said I'd put it on the screen. I'd put it on the
this
big
is
screen.
fastmarkets.com.
Fastmarkets.com.
Mary Barra, the chair and
All
executive.
right, hold on, sir. I can't type that fast. Fastmarkets.com.
No, just look up Mary Barra, the chair and chief executive officer of General Motors, telling their shareholders in a letter on Thursday of May 1st.
So just an anecdotal story. All right, that's fine.
Now it's an anecdotal. Ha ha. You use Walmart. It was anecdotal. Now I'm showing you.
Actually,
that
this
the
shows
cost-
right here that GM is absorbing that, not the exporter.
GM is literally a American company that's absorbing the tariff.
Exactly, sir. That is my entire point. Okay, that the American company is the one that absorbs the tariff,
That's not
the
deniable. I can't deny that.
Sir, that's the claim you've
importer
been making
pays the tariff.
Sir, that's the claim you've been making this entire time. Why can't you keep up
Yes.
with your own argument?
No,
The
no.
entire claim that you've been making, sir, this entire time was that it is not a tax on Americans because the exporter from the other countries is going to absorb the cost of the tariffs. Therefore,
can't be
the importer
negotiated.
is not doing that. But yet, right here on the exact source that you told me to pull up shows that the American company is the one that is absorbing that tax. So literally,
Okay.
by your own admission,
I
you just
said
beat your
that.
own
I was
argument.
supposed to prove. I told you that there are companies absorbing the tax, and then I pulled up proof, and now you want to shift the argument.
Sir, you just pulled up
For
proof
my
of
original-
my argument.
No.
Yes.
We're not going to. I'm telling you, we're not going to speak on how hundreds of importers doing business with hundreds of
Again,
exporters.
sir, I don't want to
And then
hear
I
your.
gave you-
I
but let me
don't,
finish.
sir. No, you've already said this 4 times, and I'm tired of repeating myself on the exact same thing over and over. Okay.
No.
You keep saying that these hundreds
the
of
host is
companies
gaslighting.
that these
Yeah.
hundreds of companies are negotiating with the exporters in other countries,
Yep.
and therefore the other countries, the exporters, are absorbing the price of the tariff. I asked you to show me one of these hundreds of companies, just one, not 10, not 20, not even two, just one. And the one company that you pulled up
No, I pulled
is
up a company
is
that
GM,
absorbing the
in which
tariff.
the exporter isn't doing that, where the importer is.
Yeah,
So
the
again,
importer.
I will start back to my original question on this entire conversation.
You're
So why
disingenuous,
are
bro.
you a fan of importers paying higher taxes?
The tariffs. The tariffs bring in revenue to our government that can offset our tax cuts. Of course, that's not going as planned because they paused the reciprocal date tariffs. But at the end of the day, we know that this is one of the purposes for the tariffs is to make our country rich, right? So that's the positive to the tariffs. Now,
Gotcha, sir.
I
So
said
can you please explain something to me then?
you can, huh?
Yeah, can you please explain something to me then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, how does our country paying our country make our country rich?
What do you mean? How our country
If
paying
our
country?
importers are paying our governors, then
Yeah.
how does that make our country rich?
Because the government has the money, and now the taxpayer doesn't have the burden.
Sir, the importer is the taxpayer.
The importer is a company, all right? And there's a taxpaying citizen. To alleviate the taxpayer citizen of the burden of heavy taxes, we are imposing them on the importer.
Yeah, how much do taxes
how it
go
makes our
down
country
for
rich.
middle class Americans according to the big beautiful bill if passed?
Say that again?
How much do individual taxes go down for middle class Americans if the big beautiful bill is passed?
For the middle tax bracket, why do you want to pivot away from tariffs? You're getting walked on tariffs and you're running?
No, sir. You made a claim saying that because those importers are now paying the tariffs, that now taxpayers as a whole, general taxpayers, don't have to pay all of those taxes. So if that's the case, then I should see a lowering of the taxes for the middle class
Yeah, there are taxes
in the big beautiful bill. So how
there are
much does the big
on
beautiful
America.
bill lower taxes for the middle class?
Let me get the exact figure for you here.
It's going to be really, really easy to find. Yeah, it's like almost, I would say, some would call it the easiest number to count to.
You wild corny, bro.
Let's see if I can count there. Ready? 0.
I
Oh,
knew
fuck. That was
gonna
it.
be-
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That was it. It was 0. Yeah, there has been no tax change between Donald Trump's last tax plan and this tax plan when it comes to the middle class.
No, we're trying
So
to
therefore, there is 0 taxes being
trying to
passed off to
extend
the
the
average
tax
citizens.
cut
So what you're
2007.
saying is, sir, so what you're saying is where the tax cuts are at is for the is for corporations. So you're saying that corporations are paying higher import taxes so that we could give tax cuts to those same corporations. Did I get that all correct?
No, you didn't get that
Oh,
correct.
okay. Where was I wrong on that, sir?
Because it's not 0 for the middle class. Now,
Yes, sir. It is an extension of Donald Trump's previous tax cuts from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So therefore, you will see no change in your taxes from his previous bill to now. It's the exact same tax rate for the middle class.
Yeah, and everybody got tax cuts in the first bill.
Right, sir. But we didn't have all the giant tariffs there before. So if your theory is
But what are you
correct,
talking
sir,
about?
if
So
your
you said
theory
it
is
was
correct,
0 tax
sir,
cuts, and now
sir,
you're saying,
sir,
and now
sir,
you're saying there were tax cuts for everybody, but we had the tariffs.
there
What are
was
you talking
already
about?
there was also tax cuts in like what 1948. So do we just say because there was somewhere in the line tax cuts? Sir, these tariffs are new, and if the money from these tariffs is
Tariffs are
being
not new.
passed on, sir, if the money from these new tariffs, the tariffs that
They're
have
not
just been implemented a few months ago, okay, if the money from those new tariffs was being passed on, all right, to the consumer, then we should see a larger tax cut because we now have new tariffs, so therefore new money is coming in.
Again,
So therefore
the
that
tax
should be
cuts-
passed
look,
on to the middle class.
tariffs
But we're
don't get
not
passed on to
seeing
the
that.
consumer. The tariffs. That's why I showed you two. One instance of it. It can be negotiated with the exporter, and the other one being absorbed by a great company.
You never
Okay.
showed me one single instance of it being absorbed by the exporter
I don't have it. I don't have that. I don't have that
because it doesn't
information.
exist.
It does exist.
It does not.
It does exist.
Then please show me one example. You've been typing away at that computer the whole time. This should be very easy for you. Thank you, Maria. I really appreciate that. Phil, thank you so much for the Venmo. Says, I bet you this guy said lowering corporate tax cuts would save jobs, but now tariffs for corporations make tax. Ooh, too long. Sorry. Now tariffs for corporate taxes makes the U.S. rich. What exactly? That makes no sense. Y'all, if you guys would like, first of all, if you guys are over the YouTube side, can you guys do me a favor? Go up to the top, hit that like button. I really appreciate you. Also hit that subscribe button. We do this every single day while this guest is trying to find my source for me. So if you guys would like to hit that like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. If you guys are on the TikTok side, let's get this thing up to 30,000 likes. I really appreciate that. If you guys are on YouTube, if you'd like to support, I do have super chats and gifts and all that sort of fun stuff open. So if you do a super chat, I will put it up on the screen and we can talk about it. And we can have a lot of fun with it. Just like this guy, Eric, who said, don't give this little shit money. See? And I can put it up on the screen and we can talk about it like that. Sorry you're having a rough day, Eric. It's okay, bud. If you guys are on the YouTube side too, I do have the money gun gift goal going on too. So if you guys would like to help support, I really appreciate that. I also have all of the pay links in my bio, so I do appreciate that also. Do you have my source yet, sir? Hello?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. No, companies don't report this negotiating that they do.
So you're making a baseless claim.
It's not a baseless claim. What I'm telling you is that they just don't report on the nuances of their private business that they do. All right, it's not public information.
Gotcha,
so I'm
sir.
looking.
If it's not public information, then how do you know it?
It is something that happens.
Awesome, sir. If it's not public information, then how do you know it? Sherry, thank you so much.
You know, while we wait, you guys can all go on YouTube and type in Bully by Ye and listen to that album. That shit is a literal.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that means you don't have a source, sir.
No. I got you. Don't disconnect me. Hold on. All right. All right. What is this source over here? Wow, this thing wants me to. I'm in the Financial Times and it wants me to pay to read that. Not paying, man.
Well, sir, I'm going to go ahead and say then, in that case, you were making a baseless claim, which has no basis in reality whatsoever. Okay. And by your own admission, okay, this isn't public knowledge. So therefore you could not have known it. Okay.
I do know it.
So you're making a claim that even by your own admission, you can't possibly know. And so therefore you are admitting the fact that based off your own sources that the importers are getting these taxes, are paying these taxes. And we're also showing that money is going to corporations. So therefore we are not making America rich by American businesses paying import taxes to the American government to then give those tax cuts to American businesses. That's just making more money circular. And we're probably actually losing money by that money having to go in a giant circle throughout the United States and having all the processing of doing all those taxes and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this conversation is completely over and now currently a waste of my time. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay.
No. I got it right here. What are you doing?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jordan, thank you so much for the PayPal. It said, when did you add? I can't read the rest of that. I can't read the rest of that, Jordan. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the PayPal. I can't read the rest of that. You're trying to get me in trouble. Y'all are gonna get me in trouble. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. We're about to move on to the next guest. Woo. Like I said, I really do appreciate you guys. You're gonna get me in trouble. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna do that. All right, I think we're gonna open the phone lines. We took a TikTok guest. I think maybe I'll just bounce back and forth. We'll see how this goes. Ugh. Hello, welcome to the live. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, brother?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
I am going to be 28
Awesome. Do you
in
support Trump?
roughly about like 20 days.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
I mean, as the president, I didn't vote for him, but I still support anyone who is president.
Well, that's not very bright.
I literally just came across your live stream, and I wanted to, just talk. I am an Army combat veteran. I am an immigrant.
Well, sir, thank you for your service and all that sort of stuff, but that doesn't make any sense.
Honestly, don't thank us because, like, bro, all these wars that we've been fighting are all bull.
Yeah, but you still signed up to fight them regardless, so I'm still going to thank you for your service, whether you like it or not. But what I'm saying, sir, is you don't just support someone just because they are the president. If Schmittler became the president tomorrow, would you support him just because he's the president? Or would you say, no, maybe this guy shouldn't is doing horrible things to the world and to our country, and we should fight back against it?
Well, okay. So let me tell you this. I was originally a Republican for many, many years. And then through my years in the military, I realized, all right, I've been on a lot of deployments, and a lot of this is just BS. Like, you see the things that the media will never tell you. Plus, when you have a security clearance, that immediately opens up your eyes, no matter who is president. And that's why I became more of a libertarian, because I see both sides, left and right, part of the same bird. Technically, we have no right of actual, someone that.
Sir? I really do appreciate your rhetoric, and again, I do appreciate your service, stuff like that. But I am looking for people that supported Trump, so we can actually have a back and forth conversation. And unfortunately, just like this is kumbaya, and I don't like everybody is just not really like what we're doing here. But I do appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay.
Hang on. I do support Trump as the president,
sir. But you said you would support anyone as the president, so that doesn't really matter.
But let me continue.
No, I'm not interested, sir.
Conservative, and I'm still.
All right, we're gonna reopen up the phone lines. I'm sorry, I try to be polite about it. I don't know why. Just let me be polite. Hello, welcome to the live. How are you today? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
I'm sorry, I have a bad connection here. I'm gonna have to call back in. My apologies.
Sounds good, man. Hello, welcome to the live. How are you?
Awesome, I got through. So, yeah, I did, and I did because from my time frame working in the government, there was tons of wasted funds, right? This has become a catastrophe that no one wants to address and no one cared about dealing with. And so,
sir, what catastrophe? I'm sorry, you just jumped into some rhetoric about something. What are you talking about?
Right. So, yeah, let's just take a snippet. Let's take workforce development, right?
No, let's not take workforce development. What are you talking about, sir? You just said like I did something. Are you saying you support Trump? First of all, how old are you?
So I'm in my 30s, and I'm jumping through this as quickly as possible. I don't think I'm going to get like a ton of time.
Why not?
Well, I just assumed, given that you're on live right now, I'd get a snippet, and I want to give it all as fast as I can.
No, so the quickest way to get removed from my live is trying to go through the whole thing as fast as you can, because that's called grandstanding, and I don't like that.
Well,
so
I learned
that's a really,
today.
really quick way to get removed. I'm here to have conversation, and if you're just talking, then we're not having conversation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well then.
So why do you support Trump?
All right. So, from my own perspective, looking at things, my time in government, and watching how funding was so poorly mismanaged, this was an individual who spoke to that mismanagement. And it's a huge problem because I'd see people who really needed assistance of all backgrounds and from all walks of life. And it's like, man, these are their tax dollars. And these people who are essentially to some degree program providers are acting like gatekeepers to these people's own tax dollars just because they don't want to relinquish it to them for petty reasons.
But Donald Trump isn't doing anything to fix that. He's actually doing the opposite of that.
Well, okay. Well, tell me exactly what in workforce development that he's done that.
What do you mean as far as workforce development? I'm talking about spending as a whole. We were talking about his tax dollars, not just one specific part of it. And right now, government spending as a whole is at an all-time high.
Right, and it's even going up, right? This is what Elon said, and this is why Elon walked out, correct?
Well, that was mostly because of the big beautiful bill, which is spending that hasn't even begun yet. It's already at an all-time high, and they're passing a bill right now to make it even higher. So, but when you're saying you support Trump because of this tax dollar waste, then what are you talking about if you're very familiar with the fact that he's wasting it more than anybody?
Well, hold on, because we're saying he's wasting it, but we're not saying like how he's wasting it. And I was trying to be like technical and give a hard example, right? A tacit example from experience about how he was actually looking into individuals who were, I mean, I want to say poorly to be nice. So I'll say poorly using those funds and not relinquishing those funds to the taxpayer for work credentials to make themselves a better worker and make a good wage. Like, I think you, just like me, just like the next person, want to have the ability to use their tax dollars to get a better credential, to get a better paying wage so that we don't have to essentially go through these types of struggles.
So are you making the claim that somehow because he's cut a bunch of government workers that wages are increasing? Because that's not what happened.
Goodness no. Like, I'm not saying that
cutting government. What point are you making? Because I have no idea what you're talking about at this point.
That's completely fine, right?
It's not fine.
Brand new argument. I don't think you.
I just want to know what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. So I'm just saying that I've observed from experience and from watching what he's been doing. There has been a removal, especially of particular programs that have just been essentially people have just used it as their nest egg and gotten fat on it instead of assisting people.
Like what? Name a program that's doing that.
Okay, so if we want to do just like one of the programs they're talking about with Job Corps, there have been successful areas for Job Corps. South Carolina was a good one, but there have been unsuccessful areas in Job Corps. Pennsylvania has just been dismal, man. And these kids, like, I'm just picking.
All right, so what's Job Corps?
Okay, cool. So essentially, Job Corps is an entire government program set up to use government funding to help these kids essentially become work ready. It also provides them housing.
And how is that a negative?
Well, oh, goodness, no. When it runs well, like, it's awesome when it runs well, man.
And Donald Trump is cutting this program?
Yes, because it hasn't run, it doesn't run well in all 52, right?
So you're saying that because we have a program that's really good, we should cut it because it doesn't run well instead of just making the program better?
I'm saying that when we have a program that hasn't worked well in particular states for a long track record, it's more than time, I think, that we should say, hey, listen, this hasn't worked well in Arizona. We're cutting it in Arizona. This hasn't worked well.
Why not just fix it in Arizona?
Well, I mean, do you believe that 3 decades is a decent litmus test of it just not running well for some? Wow. Oh, so what's the? Well, I assume that. What's the barometer then?
Yeah, you just fix it. If it's not running well, you just fix it. Just because it's been running for 3 decades poorly doesn't mean it can't be fixed. Because Job Corps, now I know what you're talking about because I actually looked up and I was like, oh yeah, I do recognize this program. Yeah, because that's specifically targeted at low income children.
Right.
Yeah. And so
Right.
why would I
And
remove a program that helps low income children to possibly be more successful in life because it doesn't run as efficiently as you think it should in every single state? Why wouldn't I just fix the program? That way it runs like more efficiently in those states and therefore is more helpful.
well, okay. Well, then I see we completely disagree on that front.
No,
Then
hold on, hold on. But I asked you a question. Like, why would I not just fix it? If it is a program that is helping like underprivileged children to possibly be more successful in life, don't you agree that less fortunate
that's
children
awesome.
should be given more opportunity to be able to be like a functioning member of society?
Right, like that's completely awesome,
Okay,
and
so we
I
can
love
agree on
that.
that. So if we can agree that that's a good thing, then why would I
Okay,
scrap the program instead of fixing the program?
because they're well, and I think let me just answer your question. Because there may be a different way that you need to do it on the ground, a more organic manner in which would work way better than Job Corps because
Awesome, cool. So
it had
what's
its
Donald
track
Trump's
record.
plan to replace it?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Not only have they done different things with WIOA and extended the WIOA funds, and I know you don't know what Title One is. I'm sorry, I'm just like speaking like jargon to you at this point, but
No, it just sounds like you're
yeah,
saying a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you.
no, man, no, serious. Well, I don't know. I'll try to like just throw some stuff in the chat. I don't want to like hog up all the time.
I would just
But
rather you
I'll
just
try to.
like get to the point because like just truly like this just sounds like it's a whole bunch of crap, to be honest with you.
No, man. I watch tons of the different hearings on PBS, the News Hour. They've been showing the hearings every day with the new secretary of that. But like, listen, I'd like for other people to get in. I don't want to just hog it. I'll drop some like links in the chat if that's cool. Like I don't know, is
I
that
don't know.
okay
I
or
don't even
no?
know what you're dropping links on. That's what I'm saying.
So on the
You're
data that I'm
referring you're
sharing,
referring
right?
to Title One, but I haven't seen any Donald Trump expansions of Title One. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump is trying to cut the Department of Education, which would severely limit Title One. So if he's limiting
Well,
Title One, getting rid of things like Job Corps, if he's literally trying to gut things like that again, like the Department of Education runs, like IEPs and different stuff for for less fortunate children, for disabled children, stuff like that, for 504s, for all of these different programs that again help people that are less fortunate to be able to get educations to be more successful members of society. It just sounds like you're advocating for the lack of social safety nets within this country. And
I I
I mean,
I don't want to. I don't want to like advocate for that. I want to like first just be like perfectly clear that no, I'm not advocating for that. What I'm saying is that concerning things within the Title One branch, because there are tons of different avenues in Title One that work. The JOLTS data, right? The jobs and labor market information data that you can find on BLS.gov. The JOLTS data has shown us like what companies are doing and where they're going. And ultimately, like, man, not only are these companies making up tons of spoof jobs, but a lot of these companies, especially in the manufacturing field, are just preferring people with particular certifications for particular roles, and they're hiring guys out of cohorts immediately. Now, like,
so that sounds
where do we
very
go for
specific and
cohorts?
anecdotal and doesn't sound like it has much to do with what we're talking about. I'm really sorry.
It,
Like it
it's
seems
cool.
like you're
It's
very,
cool.
very much
My
trying to
apologies.
pigeonhole this conversation into something that,
No.
yeah.
I'm just
So
trying to give the one example, but my bad, man.
yeah.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks for the show, and I'll keep watching. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
I don't know what we're doing here. Sorry. This is just pigeonholing a conversation about education that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, I'm gonna keep this thing going forward because I don't know what we were just talking about there. Donald Trump has done nothing but try to freaking strip Title One funding. Hello, welcome to live. How are you today? All right. Well, that sound is the sound I assume that MAGA just does all the time. Dylan, thank you so much for the super chat. Dylan, you're telling people why they can or can't support? I'm not really sure if you're like, is that's a question or a statement. I'm not telling anyone why they can or can't support. I'm just making conversation about why they're supporting things. The difference is that most people can't actually justify why they're supporting things like voting for Donald Trump or supporting him. But that's not on me. I don't tell you what you can and can't do. I thought you were grown. Y'all, if you guys are on YouTube, can you guys do me a favor and go ahead and go up to the top and hit that like button and that subscribe button? We're going to keep this thing going. I really appreciate it. If you're on the TikTok side, let's get this thing up to 50,000 likes. I really appreciate that. Also, if you guys like support, again, I do have super chats. Like I just put that one up on the screen and we can sit around and talk about it. And if you're on the TikTok side, I do have the money guns and stuff going on too. So if you guys like support, that's a great way to do it. I also have all the pay links in the bio as normal. Hi, welcome to the live. How are you today? Hello? 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 I don't know what's going on. I might have to move over to a TikTok guest or something real quick because it doesn't seem to be, no one seems to be connecting over here. Happy Pride to everyone. Hello, welcome to live. How are you today? What is going on with people right now? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, brother. Pretty good. So what if I don't like Trump?
Well, then we're in agreement and you don't need to be here.
Oh, fair enough. All right, never mind. Bye.
Have a good one. Hi, welcome to the live. How are you today?
Oh, hey. I did not think I would get through. Still on my Bluetooth here. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. 1 second. Hex Dubs, thank you so much for this super chat. Hex says, I love what you're doing. Everyone is so mad. LOL. Yeah, I don't know why. People get very, very angry in these chats. It's very confusing. I don't know why they do that. But people get very, very upsetty spaghetti in these chats. But anyways, so how old are you?
34.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Awesome.
I don't
Why is
agree
that?
with everything he does, but yeah, I mostly support him.
Awesome. Why is that?
Mainly because I think he's going to be a positive influence on the economy, like he was last time.
How was he a positive influence on the economy the first time?
The Jobs Act and the taxes that he lowered down to, I'm a big fan of that.
And how was that a positive to the economy?
Well, it allows companies like mine to keep more of our money in order to buy more equipment, maybe even potentially hire my first employee because I just work for myself. But yeah, I mean, when the government takes less of our money, it's easier to run and maintain my business. So that makes sense,
I don't
right?
necessarily have a problem with your company getting tax cuts in order for you guys to expand 100%, but that's not necessarily good for the economy. That's good for you. Okay.
Well, what's good for businesses generally means it's good for the economy in general, in my opinion.
No, I mean, those same tax cuts that gave you the ability to expand also helped to fund stock buybacks and raises for CEOs of Walmart that did not use that money to expand. And that's where the majority of the money went. While yours is I'm sure, fine. And I'm sure that there's actually lots of small businesses across the United States that actually did do things with the tax cuts that they received.
Yeah.
But that's not the majority of where that money went. The majority of the money went to major corporations who were not using that money to expand. And that is why we had freaking the highest freaking, spending and the highest debt and the highest deficit under the Trump administration, which was a huge factor when it came to inflation.
Yeah, well, his deficit really didn't take off like a rocket until like COVID, because I remember looking at the numbers and it was like he was averaging like 1 trillion of deficit spending a year, and then all of a sudden COVID it went to like 3.5, like it just jumped.
It was bad before COVID. COVID made it worse.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean,
yeah,
he was
but
doing
that's
1 trillion deficit.
But let's not pretend that because it was worse during COVID, it wasn't bad before COVID. Most economic projections saw us headed toward a recession before COVID hit.
Yeah, I don't think that I certainly didn't feel like that was the case. The economy was booming. I mean, what was it? He was getting like 6% stock market growth year over year until before COVID.
Yeah, but he was getting that before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
No, it skyrocketed afterwards. So I don't see why why you would think that. That's not what the numbers.
We had freaking records going over and over on the stock market. We've had records going over on the stock market since then.
Huh. Well, I guess I gotta look up the data then, because I was under the belief that it really skyrocketed after the tax cut.
Oh, you can pull it up, no
I
problem.
have to look into that. But yeah, I mean that's not the only reason too, because I mean I think America needs to just swallow the pill, because we elected Joe Biden, and Joe Biden did open the borders, and Joe Biden even said he was going to do that. During the campaign, he's like, people should surge to the border. He's like, but I don't like the idea of Trump deporting non-criminals. I'm pretty sure he's doing that, but I know he's focusing mainly on criminals. And
Whoa, hold on. Under what debt are you showing that he's focusing on criminals?
Unless I'm mistaken, he's mainly focusing on people who have criminal records on top of just crossing the border. I mean, that's the story that I mostly hear about.
No, this is literally why the National Guard is being deployed to Los Angeles right now. Is literally because people are protesting, because he is specifically going after people with absolutely no criminal record. He is specifically going after people that have jobs and live within the communities and work within the communities and hurt absolutely no one. That's literally why people were protesting.
One of the biggest protests was literally because ICE was going after a bunch of drug dealers. Like I know.
I'm sorry. What the fuck did you just say to me? That's not true at all.
Yeah, dude. I'll pull it up for you.
Sure. Tell me where I can find it. I'll gladly do that.
I don't know, dude. I usually use Grok. So if I ask Grok, like, hey, can you find me the story on where protesters were defending illegals who were actually drug dealers targeted by
yes, sir. If you put that into AI, then AI will create the story for you. Okay, that's what's called a leading question. If I type in, tell me a story right now where ICE is going after drug dealers, then of course AI, Grok is going to do that exact thing, right?
I'm not asking Grok to make it up. I know AIs can hallucinate, but that's becoming less and less common.
Yeah. So how about you actually give me a source that shows that? Because literally all of the data, like literally on the ground in Los Angeles right now, is showing that he is specifically going after people who have no criminal record. Hell, he's been deporting people that are showing up for their immigration hearings. That has been a huge thing. He freaking just had a judge arrested because freaking he arrested someone, trying to arrest someone in a courtroom at their immigration hearing. He literally just had an American citizen deported after the American citizen's mom showed up for their immigration check-in. No criminal record whatsoever.
Well, if we're thinking of the same judge story, I don't know if we're thinking of the same one. I don't know if he's arrested multiple judges, but this one judge knew that DEA was waiting for him outside the court, and she went to her back room, guided them out, and said, "Hey, use this secret little jury door that I've got so you can get away from them." And that's
sir. Why was ICE at an immigration court if they're supposed to be going after criminals?
Yeah, they're tricking them. I mean, they're basically
no, sir. If someone's at the courthouse for their immigration hearing, then they weren't a criminal.
I just admitted that the DEA, the ICE is tricking people. I just admitted.
Yeah, but your original claim was that they're targeting people that were criminals, not just as far as immigration. And again, that wouldn't be the case because there wouldn't need to be people showing up at immigration court if they were going after criminals, right? This is not how you go after criminals. It's easy. The problem with that is that Donald Trump said, and Stephen Miller said, that they're going to be going after these criminals and stuff like that. The problem is they finding out that going after criminals is really fucking hard. But they also said they were going to freaking deport whatever, millions of people or whatever, and they're nowhere close to actually hitting that number. So they're going after people like students at Harvard or students at Columbia that are here legally on student visas who've committed no crime.
Hey, I actually support. What is his name? Rubio, the Secretary of State. He's the one that basically says, nope, your visa is no longer. I'm actually fine with that. I kind of put it down to like, if you were a guest of my house, if I shrink it to my own personal life, and like I try to make it on a personal level. If you were a guest in my house and then you start talking about how you want to destroy my household, yeah, I'm kicking you out. You're gone.
What students at Harvard did that?
There was a few. I know.
No.
I know one guy at Harvard. He led a big old protest.
They just threatened to cancel all Harvard things because Harvard wouldn't agree to what
And
Trump
I'm
said.
also fine with that too. 'Cause
So
I
good.
think
So
that
let's. So cool. Then now we can get past your bullshit about being like, oh, I'm glad he's going after criminals. At least we could make it. At least no. At least we could go past that because really this whole like, you know, like this like fake like little facade and stuff like that where we're like, oh, where I just want him going after criminals and all stuff, and then all of a sudden it took you like all of like 2 minutes.
You need to protect the Jewish
That
community.
all of a
too.
sudden
You
like
can't
2 minutes
discriminate.
later, all of a sudden like 2 minutes later, you're all of a sudden like, well, I'm glad he's getting rid of freaking students that are here with no criminal record. Like it took you like no time to get
That's
that.
not what I said.
Also, he's literally deporting Jewish people.
That's not what I said. You're just putting words in my mouth. You're just doing
No,
this
sir,
whole-
I'm repeating to yourself. Maybe you should listen to
No,
what you're saying.
not. I never said I'm happy with him deporting students with no criminal record. Those words never went. past
Yes,
my
it
lips.
did.
You just made it up.
No, you said it.
I said
that
I'm
was-
fine with students who want to who stay down with America, who stay down with capitalism.
Sir,
if you're against an
1,500 people at Harvard are affected by Marco Rubio and what he said. Are you saying all 1,500 students at Harvard who are affected by the possible stoppage of their student visas are all anti-American? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm sure that he's deporting some that I wouldn't agree with. If you just say I'm not happy with Israel right now and all that, I mean I don't support the idea that you just get deported because you're pro-Palestinian. I don't support that. You know, you should be allowed to take a different position than what the administration is taking. Yeah. But if you say that you hate this country, which I know a few of them have said that. I know it because I've seen their
Sure,
posts.
who?
I've seen what they've said. I support those people.
Sure, who?
Now about I don't know, dude. You telling me that none of them have said these things?
Well, first of all, even if they have said something like that, that's what America is for. We have this cool thing called the First Amendment, which covers freedom of speech, and it covers freedom of speech regardless of whether you're an immigrant or whether you're a U.S. citizen.
Well,
So
that's
you have
obviously
the
not the
ability.
case because
So
it
you
gets
still
kicked
have
out.
the
That's
ability
a
to say
lie.
that. But second of all, okay, no, the majority of people that Donald Trump is deporting are not doing that. So if you want to pick out like a singular case or two to try to prove an overwhelming point of all of the people with no criminal records that are here legally that Donald Trump is trying to deport, then I guess be my guest.
Hey, I just said I wouldn't support all of them. I only support those who basically say that they want to destroy our country within. Those are the ones I want out.
So he's deporting tens of thousands of people that are here illegally with no criminal record. But since you can find one person, now you're saying because there's one person that you can find that said they hate America someplace. No, sir, because we're talking about Donald Trump's immigration policies. We're not talking about
everyone.
Sir, please stop whining. What I said was we were talking about Donald Trump's immigration policies as a whole. We are not talking about one singular case. Okay? You are saying that you support Donald Trump's immigration policies. You already said that. You also said that you support what Marco Rubio said, saying freaking this rhetoric, which again, he made up in order to freaking have student visas canceled for people that he just didn't like. Okay.
Immigration policies is an umbrella term. I don't support everything in his immigration. I don't support his deportation problem, most likely. It just depends. If he's mostly focusing on people with criminals who have additional criminality to their record besides just crossing the border, yeah, get them out. I don't care if it's even like, it could be as simple as a DUI arrest. If you got a DUI arrest and you're illegal in this country, gone. I mean, anything on their record, I want.
Yeah, jaywalking, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah,
Not
guys,
that.
somebody's fucking somebody's jaywalking and they're here an immigrant. I don't give a shit how much of a fucking I don't care how much of a fucking, upstanding citizen, how much you contribute to the society as a whole. I mean, you jaywalked. You jaywalked, and that's just got to get them out of here.
That falls in line with the intent of my words. Yeah, that falls in line. Sure. That's unbelievable. No, of course not jaywalking. Anything serious, though, when it becomes like if you're stealing, if you DUI, if you anything serious, anything like that. Of course not jaywalking. Don't be insane. But one of the things too that you have to admit though is that you don't have a blue collar job. I don't know if you have any.
You don't know what I do, so how about you just?
Well, I know what you're doing now. I assume this is.
I know what you're doing right now. Does that mean you don't have a blue collar job?
Well, okay, if my assumption was wrong, you could just say that. You don't have.
Or
to
you could just not make
question it.
assumptions.
Well, we all make assumptions.
No, you just don't have to. It's so easy not to. Like
Really?
it's so easy
Okay.
not to. Like I can just assume you didn't graduate high school.
Well, I guess I should assume that you're not even a man, right? Can I make that?
Yeah,
assumption, or
let's
that's
just assume that your parents don't love you. Okay, let's just assume that. I can make that assumption based off the way you're talking. Like,
Are you
let's just
projecting right now?
assume let's
It
just
sounds like you're
assume all
projecting.
sorts of stuff. Like it doesn't matter, right? Like
I'm
who
very,
cares?
Very sorry if your mommy
Thank you
doesn't
so
love you.
much.
I really am.
Thank you so- Yeah, if we're just going to assume all sorts of stuff, sir, I can assume that you have 2 brain cells that are fighting for 3rd place. Let's just assume things, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, you're projecting right now, and I don't know why you're getting snarky with me. I'm trying to have a civil conversation with
Because
you.
you're making assumptions about something you know nothing about, as opposed to the other things that you're making that
Why
you're
did
just
that
talking
trigger
about that you know
so
nothing
much?
about.
Why does that trigger you? You could have just
Sir,
said,
I'm
hey,
not triggered,
that's
sir.
actually
I do not get
You
triggered by
obviously
stupidity,
are.
okay? Sir, I do
You
not get
could have
triggered by
just
sir.
politely said, no,
I had parents
I
that
actually have a
sir,
part-time job and I do
sir,
construction.
yeah.
You
So,
could have
sir,
done that.
I actually, so, sir, yeah, I actually had parents who loved me and they taught me from a very young age not to let stupid people bother you. So, no, sir, I am not triggered, nor do you bother me, nor will I remember that
sure
you
sound
exist.
triggered.
Literally, that within half a second of like hanging up the phone, will I even remember that your existence on this planet happened? Okay.
Okay, well, fair enough. I'm going to do the same thing for you, but I was just trying to have a civil conversation. You keep putting words in my mouth. You keep exaggerating.
And now
what
you're
I said,
whining.
and you keep. Why couldn't we just have a civil conversation telling me about what I like?
Sir, you're the one who started with personal
I don't
attacks,
like.
not me. Sir, I would advise you next time you don't
By
want to be
assuming
personally
that
attacked.
you
Sir,
don't have a blue-collar
sir,
job,
I
that was
would
an
sir,
attack
I
to
would
you?
advise you next time you don't want personal attacks to not start with personal attacks.
That
Okay?
was a personal attack to you. Are you that sensitive? That
No,
me
sir.
assuming that you don't have a blue-collar
You're
job
still over here
is an-
crying
you
about it though,
described
which
it
is
as an
crazy how
attack.
you call someone
You
else sensitive
described
as
it
you
as
sit
an
here
attack.
and
That's
whine
amazing.
and whine and whine. Sounds like you need a therapist.
That's amazing. You described it as an attack. You are such a snowflake.
Guys, can we get a bunch of baby balls and snowflakes in here for this guest who literally cannot move on with his point because he is crying so hard? Like I did,
Well-
sir. I have not seen enough money hit my Venmo or my Cash App in order to be your therapist. Okay, but I do advise that you hire one. Try calling BetterHelp. Okay, but please move on with the conversation because really this is getting boring.
All right. Well, what I was going to say, if you have a blue-collar job and I assumed wrong, okay, my bad. If you do not, let me just say that all these illegals who are in this country is making it harder on blue-collar jobs, blue-collar workers. So in my particular industry, there are dozens, if not hundreds of companies. I can pull them up on DOT. So they're starting to get collapsed, but they hire these illegals to drive trucks, to drive commercial equipment, and they basically double book. They either double book them, which means they're operating 2 logbooks, or they're like criminally underpaid. And it's actually, they're just getting taken advantage of.
Sir,
and
why
stuff
are
like that.
you arguing against immigration and not against the companies that are hiring these migrants?
If you shove an enormous supply of workforce into our economy, but you don't increase
Sir,
demand,
is it
what happens?
legal for those corporations to hire those migrants?
Yeah, actually it is. A lot
It
of
is
them have
not.
work
If they are
visas.
illegal migrants, it is not
A
legal
lot
because they have
work
no.
visas, work
Sir,
permits, and
if they have work visas, then they're not illegal. You said that these
They
companies
are
are
an
hiring
illegal
illegal
citizen.
Sir, you said that these companies are hiring illegal migrants. Okay, that's
Yes,
the words that came out
people
of
who
your
have
mouth.
crossed our
So if
border
they're
illegally,
Sir, if they're illegally here, then they don't have work visas. Okay, that's the entire point. Okay, because you can't get to work visa
saying
because you're here
illegal
illegally.
immigrants
Okay,
cannot get a
so
job.
therefore it is not legal for these companies to hire them. So why are you not mad at the companies and you're mad at the migrant who's just trying to eat? Why are you not mad at the corporation who is screwing people like you out of a job? Okay, who's screwing people like you out of a job by hiring someone who's not legally allowed to work and paying them under the table. Not only doing that, but avoiding paying taxes, so therefore that money doesn't even go into the government. How come you're not blaming the corporations
Listen, I
for these
blame
things
the
that's happening, and you're
government
blaming the poor migrant? Why is that?
I blame the
Snooks,
government.
thank you so much for the
issuing
subscription.
What is called a non-domicile CDL. You can look that up. You can see the hundreds of thousands, if not over a million. I think it was like 700,000 non-domicile CDL, which means you are an illegal immigrant who is given work authorization, and then they are issued a non-domicile CDL. And I blame the government for allowing all
I'm
those
sure I prove you
people
wrong.
in, and then, I'm sorry? What'd you say?
Non-domicile
They need
CDLs are
to,
issued to individuals who are not U.S. residents and are not citizens of Canada or Mexico, according to the Texas Department. This includes individuals who can hold valid commercial driver's license from other countries, but are not from Canada. Documentation: applicants must present a valid passport from their country of residence, along with an I-94 form or other evidence of their non-U.S. residency and authorized presence in the United States. Yeah,
not
and
a U.S. citizen resident.
authorized presence in the United States.
Oh, okay. So you think that means that once they're given these non-domicile CDLs, they are now authorized and are no longer illegal? Is that your?
No, sir. They were already not illegal when they applied, because it literally says right here that they have to have an authorized presence in the United States.
Yeah.
If you have an authorized
many-
presence in the United States, that means you are not illegal. That's the
What
entire point.
percentage of illegals are
Literally,
given
illegal
work
immigrants cannot possibly have an authorized presence in the United States.
What percentage do you think of illegal immigrants get work authorization? I don't know what the number is off the top of my head, but it's a huge percentage of them. They get across our borders like, hey, I want to be part of your economy. They get work authorization. They can get, what do they call it? A non-social security tax number, tax whatever.
Guidance: a foreign driver holding an employment authorization document, so therefore having a valid legally being here to work, or an unexpired foreign passport accompanied by an approved Customs and Border Protection I-94 arrival and departure record, may obtain a non-domicile CDL. So literally, the only way that they can get a non-domicile CDL is to have checked in with Customs and Border Protection, therefore being here legally.
Yeah, okay, sure. If that's what you think happens. I mean, no.
What do you mean if
You
that's
don't
what I think?
just-
That's what the
you don't
law literally says. What are you
You
talking
don't just
about?
cross the border, get work authorization, get issued a non-domicile CDL, and then all of a sudden you're no longer an illegal immigrant. That's not how it works.
Sir, are you not understanding this? Are we having like a difficult, like maybe you just need to stop and you need to listen. Okay.
I'm listening. Go ahead and say it again.
Okay, sir. I am not saying that you cross the border and get a work visa and then get a non-domicile CDL and then you're not an illegal migrant. I'm saying you can't get a fucking you can't be an illegal migrant and get a fucking authorization from the Border Patrol and a work visa.
That's not true, because I talk to them every day. So you're just basically saying, don't listen to your lying eyes. Don't listen to your eyes. Don't listen to your ears. That's what you say. I talk to them. You can actually. I actually helped a guy not too long ago. He was a Muslim. I don't know about that. He could be a good guy for all I know. He couldn't speak English, and he's like, I need help getting into my truck. He was using a translator app. He got locked out of his truck. And he's like, I need you to call a locksmith for me and talk to them because I can't speak English. And it's like, I mean.
Under the U.S. immigration law, particularly Section 212A of the Immigration and Nationality Act, undocumented migrants may be deemed inadmissible for various reasons, including unlawful presence, unauthorized employment, or other immigration policies. These grounds like inadmissibility typically prevent them. These grounds of inadmissibility typically prevent them from obtaining a work visa.
Yeah, okay.
Literally,
So
unlawful presence prohibits you
like
from
30
getting
to
a work
40
visa.
million immigrants are just sitting around unable to work. Is that your contention? They're just
No, they're
not
getting
participating
hired
in our economy.
illegally, which is why I told you that you should have a problem with the companies that are hiring them illegally,
I do
not
have a
with the
problem with those
migrant.
companies. I do have a problem with those companies. I have a problem with everyone involved except tangentially the migrant, but they're really not the problem. They're just responding to incentives.
But yet you were blaming the migrants the entire conversation up until now.
No, I did
Yes,
not. I never
you
blamed the
were.
migrants. You're putting words in my
Yes,
in
you
my mouth
were.
again. What did I say that was blaming the migrants?
Are you serious?
What did I say?
Dude, I am not good. I do, sir. If you can't keep
that's
up
what I
with the
thought.
own words, that sir, don't worry about it. I'll make a video tomorrow. I'll make you famous. Okay. I'll repeat this whole
Yeah.
thing back to you, and I'll show you how freaking delusional you are. Okay. Doesn't hurt my feelings.
never
But I'm not
blamed
going to
the
sit
migrants.
here.
I just
But, sir,
followed
I'm not going to
the
sit here after you literally spoke for fucking 25 minutes about how you wanted to get rid of these migrants because they were taking our jobs.
I never blamed them
And
for
then you
being here,
freaking come
though.
back and say, "Well, I don't blame the migrants." All of a sudden, like, dude, come on,
I
like,
don't
get
want
a
them
get a
here.
get a
I don't
fucking
want them
life,
participating in
get
our
a fucking
economy
life, dude,
illegally.
get a life.
Yeah, you're so
Okay,
triggered. That's pathetic.
yeah, get a life, buddy.
Whatever, man.
Aw, he had to go run to mommy. Bye. Bye. All right, let me hit some super chats. I might have time for one more caller. I might have time for one more. But let me get to some super chats real quick. Hornet Toast, thank you so much for the super chat. It says the reason they vote is racism and bigotry. 100%. Hey, thank you so much. January 6 rioters are 50 times worse than LA protesters. Also 100%. But yeah, Trump had no problem pardoning them. Look who deported more, Trump or Obama. Obama did. That's easy. But see, here's the problem, Tyler. Nobody has a problem with Trump deporting undocumented migrants. We have a problem with the fact that he's deporting documented migrants and U.S. citizens. So get your life together. And also, thank you so much for the jewels. I really appreciate that. This says WAI curated national database MAGA voted for it. 100% Benito. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Cheyenne, thank you so much. It says, if Republicans actually cared, they would rally to change laws and fines to compromise laws and fines companies hiring illegal immigrants that take up 4% of the job force. This is it right here, y'all. Get W's in the chat for Cheyenne. Like, this is it right here. They have the House and the Senate and the executive branch right now. They could easily pass legislation, okay, to increase the punishment for these companies that hire undocumented migrants. They could easily do it, but they're choosing not to. Okay, and they choose not to because they don't actually care. They're just looking for somebody to demonize.
It's insane.
100%. W's the chat for Cheyenne. Restless. I think he's misunderstanding. Illegals are hired by companies, but it's the responsibility of the government to enforce companies to comply with the law. Restless, thank you for so much. See, I don't even know. You might have just seen Cheyenne's and just moved on. W's the chat for Restless also, because this goes perfectly along with what we were talking about with Cheyenne. Like, or we just said to Cheyenne. 100% Restless. Thank you, and Restless and Cheyenne. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Because it's exactly it. It's exactly it. Okay? This is the government's job, okay? But they don't want to fix that issue. What they want is to demonize migrants and brown people, okay? That's what they want, and that's how they do it. They use this as an ability to do that, and that is all. And Kayla, thank you so much. The Venmo says, grateful to be back to a space where facts are understood and brains work after spending my weekend with Mini Omaga. With the Mini Omaga. Sounds like the worst cereal that you ever had in your whole life. Sounds like the worst cereal you ever had in your whole life. All right, y'all. We're going to see if we can take one more. Thank you guys so much for the super chats and the support. Angie, again, thank you so much for the jewels. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I wasn't even going to go live today, so thank you guys so much for keeping my mind busy and keeping me off of other stuff. Like I mentioned yesterday, my mom's in the hospital, so it's been kind of on my mind lately. So I appreciate you guys giving me some time and having some fun with me and having some conversations with me. I really do appreciate that. That really means a lot. You guys are awesome. All right, we're going to open the phone lines for one more. I don't know how long I'm going to talk to him because... Hi, welcome to the live. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did you vote for Trump?
I sure did.
Awesome. Do you still support him?
I sure do.
Perfect. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
30 years old. Awesome. So why do you support Trump?
Well, I just can't take the line and the hypocrisy of the Democratic side for the past, 15 years. And
so let me get this straight.
What you were saying.
Let me get this
what
straight.
You were saying.
So you support Trump because of nothing that has to do with Trump whatsoever?
Yeah, I fully support his economic deals.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's just like a really weird to just be like, I support Trump because some other people that have nothing to do with Trump did some stuff I don't like.
Oh no, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. I get where you're coming from with that. But what I was calling about was the last conversation that you had about the blue collar jobs.
Okay, what about them?
So, what I've seen happen in my 10 years, 10, 12 years of working various blue collar jobs across this country is immigrants will come to America from whatever country. It doesn't matter. I don't give a rat's ass. Everybody bleeds the same color. But they'll come in, they'll get a work visa, everything will be good, and the companies can legally hire them. But what the problem is they stay longer than their visas, and then they then become illegals. Does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
That's actually been the largest problem with immigration in
And
this
then
country.
the companies aren't going to do anything about it because why should they care? They're paying less
Because it's against
for
the law.
them than they would somebody like me.
Because it's against the law.
I'm going to demand more.
Because it's against the law.
It is against the law.
Yeah,
It
and
is
that's what Restless and Cheyenne were saying when we were in there talking about immigration stuff.
But
it is the responsibility.
What are you and I going to do about it?
We should elect
what are you and I-
representatives that are actually going to enforce the law to these companies.
Is that not what Trump's trying to do?
Not at all.
Are you sure?
He has not even introduced or even spoken about introducing a law that would enforce these rules on companies.
The laws are already there.
Right. And whose job is it to enforce the law?
I guess the government that
The
has been ran
executives.
by Democrats for the
executive.
past, 10, 12 years.
No,
And
Trump was
they're trying to
president
pick up
like
the pieces.
4 years ago.
They're just trying to pick up the pieces. 4 years ain't a lot of time to pick up a big old mess. You got to think about all the shit that happened.
Sir,
in
you
8 years.
can say all that stuff. It does not change the fact that Donald Trump has in no way attempted to fix this problem. SH, thank you so much, Last Buddy Gun. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I can agree to disagree with you on that.
Okay,
but
then show me one
it
piece
does
of
take a long
legislation.
time.
Awesome, sir. Then
It
show me
takes
one piece
time.
of legislation or an executive order that Donald Trump has implemented or attempted to implement that would have fixed this problem.
Can't rightly tell you.
Yeah, the one doesn't exist, sir. Yeah,
Okay,
it just
well-
simply doesn't exist. Okay, and I'm not even really trying to be. I'm not trying to be rude or anything here. It doesn't
I'm just
exist.
talking to you.
Donald Trump doesn't want to fix this problem. Republicans don't want to fix this problem. They just don't want to
Nobody
fix
wants
this
to.
problem. You're right. I don't think anybody wants to fix that problem, but that's the problem, right? That is the problem.
Right.
It
So,
is
Can
not.
I ask you?
It is not
Can
the
I ask you a
migrant
question?
that is just trying to feed his family. It's the company who is taking advantage of that migrant and also freaking making it harder for
Insane.
on jobs for everybody else too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So can I ask you a question?
So,
Why is it that right and left argue so bad whenever it's the government and a whole that doesn't give a shit about us? Why do we argue so much instead of standing together and do something about it ourselves?
well, sir, there's plenty of times that we've stood together as a country. I believe under the Obama administration was a perfect example of when we stood together as a country. But in order for us to stand together as a country, we have to start with a place of common ground, right? And that place of common ground needs to start with something that I like to call humanity, right? We need to start from a place of humanity. Donald Trump,
Not
Trump,
name calling.
no,
Not
Donald Trump.
trying to hurt other people. Not trying to degrade other people because of what they believe.
Sir, that's what Donald Trump does.
But I'm not.
Sir, it doesn't matter. You voted for Donald Trump. You started with voting for a leader that does all of those things that you're saying. Okay? So you already, it's like, if you say, you can say like, oh, I don't call people's names or degrade people, but you supported the guy who did. You supported the guy who does that and does it on a huge scale and does it across the entire United States. Okay, you support the person who demonizes people based off of things like their gender identity or the color of their skin or what country they came from, right? Or who they decide to sleep with. You voted for that person. You support that person that is anti-human to other people, right? That calls immigrants the vermin that's poisoning the blood of our country, right? That calls Puerto Rican people dirty, right? That says things like our veterans are suckers and losers. We start with that, right? We can't unite under somebody who's going to start from a place of a lack of humanity because I can't come together with anybody on that.
But when you do enter the country illegally, it is no different than any other crime, and they deserve their punishment.
Sir, do you know what
Whether or not
entering the country?
whether or not Donald Trump can keep his mouth shut, because I agree with you on that, he'd be 10 times better if he just shut his mouth and get off of Twitter.
Sir, crossing the
But
border
they are
illegally is a
illegal.
Class E misdemeanor.
It's still against against the law.
Yes, that's
And they
about
are
the equivalency
still-
of a speeding ticket, sir.
They are still draining this country
No, they're not, sir.
of resources. Yes, they are.
They literally give back to the federal government over double what they take from it. First of all, second
You
of all,
live in what's called a sanctuary city.
sir,
Have you ever been to a sanctuary city?
the United States government just deployed 700 active duty Marines in order to fight protesters over Class E misdemeanors. Okay, which is the equivalency of a
scale.
speeding ticket.
At a large scale.
It's
And it's
the
more than
fucking
just-
equivalency of a speeding ticket.
No,
Sir, how many?
They are
How many?
burning cars and trash cans and disrupting the flow of traffic and commerce and people's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That is why the Marine Corps and the National Guard have been deployed.
Sir, they were started doing most of those things
Am I wrong?
after the National Guard was deployed. Was there a slight disruption?
Exactly.
Sir, there was a disruption in Los Angeles. Yes, nothing that couldn't have been handled by LAPD or freaking California State Police. But now that the National Guard is involved, now that freaking flashbangs are being put out on people, now that they're shooting rubber bullets at people, now the violence is escalating. Now all of that stuff is getting worse. So do you think that the Marines going in is going to make things better, or do you think that that's also going to increase the violence in this country?
I don't see it increasing the violence because they're still going to use non-lethal force.
No,
If
less than lethal
the people
force.
in the streets want the violence to stop, there's a way to go about it.
Yes, to give up their rights.
And that's not the way.
To give up their rights.
But that's not the way.
Sir, people,
Not going in the
sir,
middle of
what-
the night.
who
and
said
setting
it?
things
Who
on
said it?
fire, not
those-
setting things on fire.
those
not hurting
those
people.
those who give up liberty for freedom deserve neither.
There's a way to go about it. If they really
Yeah,
honestly
the way to go
believe
about
in
it-
what they believe in,
Yeah.
why don't they just start storming federal buildings?
Yeah, sir. The way they
Instead.
do it is to protest. That is their right under the Constitution of the United States.
And whenever they start getting violent, and they're met
Sir,
with
the
violence.
violence is getting worse because the U.S. government is coming in. That is
I
what's
have seen
happening
so
right
many
now.
different live streams.
I've seen
of
live
the
streams that say
protests.
Sasquatch
I
exists.
have
Okay.
seen firearms on the civilian side being brandished and fired into the air, and people claiming that it's fireworks. It's not fireworks. Those
Sir.
are firearms on the civilian side.
Sir, have we not read any history books ever? Have we not
yes.
seen what deploying the military against the freaking U.S. citizens done? Should I take you back to freaking 1992 in L.A.?
I completely remember.
Should we go back to? Should we go
whenever
back?
America was founded by terrorists for terrorists.
Sure.
Yeah,
Should we go back to Ohio
completely
State
agree.
University protesting the Vietnam War, or how about the Democratic Convention also in the 60s? Should we go back to then, showing that
about the
every single
1600s?
time this exact situation happens, and
about
we
the
start to deploy
1600s
the
and
military
1700s?
in order to stop the protesters? What happens?
1772?
American citizens die for trying to have their First Amendment rights to protest. That's what happens every single time. Every single time. And if this continues, not yet. It didn't happen the first protest where it happened in the Vietnam War either. It took a few. This won't be the last.
I don't remember seeing anybody die in, when was that? 2018, 2019, with the BLM movement. I didn't see any.
Was the National
anybody
Guard
die from
deployed
that end. Oh, definitely.
by the federal
yeah.
government?
Yes.
Wrong.
In what, 2 or 3 different states?
Not by the federal government, it wasn't.
So the National Guard is run by the state.
Right.
It is a state.
Who deployed the National Guard
militia.
to LA?
Who?
Trump
Federal
did.
government? Okay. So who supersedes the state?
Yeah. So you're saying right now, what I'm saying is when the national government goes in and deals with what happened to states' rights, by the way, just out of curiosity?
States' rights.
Yeah, Donald Trump was always talking about states' rights, states' rights, states' right when he was dealing with the abortion topic. Where's the states' right to frickin' deploy their own National Guard?
They still have it.
They didn't have an ability to.
If a state feels the need in deploying the National Guard, so be it.
Right, but the state
the
didn't do
National
it. The
Guard-
federal government did it.
The Army National Guard is still part of the United States Army. It's still Department of Defense.
Yeah, actually, according to the
Which is
section
ran by-
that can only be deployed and federalized against the state, actually with the government, with the governor's involvement, and Donald Trump actually broke that law by doing it.
So he superseded the governor
Mhm.
of California. Who is the governor of California?
Gavin Newsom,
What party is he?
he's a Democrat.
You really think that he would have the set to deploy him, or do you think that he's
Honestly,
more
sir, if
worried about-
I think if the National Guard wasn't deployed, then we'd have a lot less violence right now. So no, I do not think he would have
Really?
deployed the National Guard, and I think that would have been a very good
I've
thing.
only seen the National Guard in maybe one or two places,
Yeah,
and that
what-
was around federal installations.
Yeah, what
different
about the
federal
700 Marines that are being deployed?
I'm pretty sure they're going to different federal installations or what are they called? Embassies of different
Yeah, while
countries.
they're firing less than lethal forces off of overpasses at civilians.
Don't be in that crowd.
There was a little
give you- they
reporter
give
that got
ample
shot in the
warning.
face.
They give ample warning.
Oh,
And
okay, gotcha. So it's okay for our military to
Stupid games
so
with
it's
stupid
okay
pride.
for our military to fire against U.S. citizens as long as they give warning,
What are they protesting for?
sir. So I asked you a question there. So it's okay for the U.S. military to fire on American citizens as long as they give ample warning. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, less than lethal. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, look.
This
it's
is when
the
we start to
same
lose our freedom,
thing.
y'all. You know, it's
whenever
really
you run up
funny.
to a
You know,
police-
no, I'm done. Shh, I'm talking now.
If you run up to a cop,
I said
and
I'm
you deck
talking
that
now.
Cop in the face,
I said I'm
you know what
talking
he's going
now.
to do? He's going to
No,
tase
I
you.
said I'm talking now. Be quiet.
Okay.
All of this
Yes, ma'am.
shit.
Yes, ma'am. Talk. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All of
You're
this
acting
talk
like-
from the right that I've been hearing forever. Okay. We need to be able to have our guns in case a tyrannical government tries to take our rights away. And now the literal federal government is trying to take your rights away, and you're siding with the government? Sorry, I'm confused. This whole time, apparently you needed your guns to be able to fight against a tyrannical government who's trying to take your rights away, while the federal government right now is trying to take away people's First Amendment rights using the military, and you guys sided with the tyrannical government. That's wild. That's wild. That's crazy. Hey, you know what? I get it. Being a simp isn't easy. Somebody's got to do it. Okay? Being a simp isn't easy. Somebody's got to do it. All right. Angie, thank you so much for the super chat. Said this guy sounds like he belongs on King of the Hill. 100%. I really appreciate that. And Shay, I know I saw a super chat from you. I don't know why it's not showing up on my list here, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Kayla, thank you so much for the Venmo. Said, so sorry to hear about your mom. I missed that while I was off with the worst cereal ever. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Y'all, I'll be back on tomorrow night. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Make sure you hit that follow button if you're on TikTok. We'll be back tomorrow for more debates, more conversations. Whether you love me, hate me, doesn't really matter. Make sure you're here for the conversation because this is how we do it. This is how we make conversation, and this is how we make things better 100%. Love y'all. Hope y'all have a wonderful